Thank you for that, Devin. And, Mother's Day on Sunday, that's certainly something to put on the calendar and be mindful of. But this week, there's something else to be mindful of. It's Nurses Week. So, thanks for coming on this morning, Nurse Christina.
Glad to be here.
Thanks for doing what you do for us.
Hey, it's my pleasure. I absolutely love being a nurse. It's who I am. So.
Absolutely. So we're celebrating with a little coffee and donuts.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Always
thank you. Always fun.
And thank you to all the nurses out there who, you guys keep the hospital running for sure. So thank you, everyone, you, Christina, everyone out there for all that you do. We all appreciate it.
Absolutely.
But for now, we're going to get into some fun medical stuff. That's really why you're here. The donuts are just a bonus. But you may call it hay fever, nasal allergies, seasonal allergies, or allergic rhinitis. Whatever the name, the symptoms can still be a little bothersome.
And here to tell us how you can try to beat those pesky allergies is Nurse Christina, of course. Thanks for coming on this morning. Absolutely. Of course, it's also your week.
Yeah.
So that's always a pleasant time. We all have positive memories of nurses, I'm sure, throughout our lives, especially, as school nurses, they were always pleasant because you'd go into them, and a lot of the times they just send us home, which I appreciated very much. Shout out to my nurses. But allergies, it's a big deal. And, I'm on my allergy medicine because
me too.
Hay fever, as you say, I don't call it that other word you said, Jackie.
Like allergic
rhinitis. That hasn't been something I've used in conversation.
That's not too casual.
But so what happens in the body that causes allergies to begin with here?
Sure. So it's really an over-dramatic response that our bodies have. So allergens are basically harmless or neutral substances, but our bodies overreact to them. So when we're exposed to a stimulus like pollen, maybe pets, some people have cats, some people have food allergies. But what happens with pollen is our body stimulates some cells and then produces these antibodies, and then there's something called a mast cell. And that mast cell produces histamines. This opens up our blood vessels, it brings water to the area, but it also causes some inflammation and kind of gets our immune system going. But what the downside is when this happens and we get more mucus and stuff into our sinuses, there's little drains that go from our eyes into our sinuses so that water doesn't, our eyes are constantly like flushing and cleaning themselves. So when that's blocked, that water's going to come up. So what happens? We get the watery eyes. There's also the eustachian tubes that go from the ears also go into our sinuses and drain. So when that's blocked, again, we're going to feel that pressure behind our ears. So there's a lot of things that happen with these histamines.
Interesting. And so maybe what are some of the symptoms? You mentioned kind of watery eyes, stuff like that. So what are some of the other things that we can maybe take an eye out, watch out for?
Sure. You're going to probably sneeze. You're going to have that postnasal drip, like I said. So your sinuses are going to fill with more mucus, and it's going to drip down the back of your throat, the red watery eyes. You're going to get pressure and pain, and it'll be in the front of your face, maybe by your teeth. That can occur too just from having so much itchy nose, coughing, puffiness under your eyes, and you're just going to overly feel fatigued and run down.
No, I know. Definitely the itchy eyes, the red itchy eyes, that is always the worst. If I forget my medicine, it's just there's some sort of tree pollen in the air that just does me in.
Right.
Yeah, I'm allergic to cats, but it's the itchy throat that kind of gets me. Like, that's my main thing. My eyes get a little itchy, and the sneezing. It's like mainly the itchy throat and like sneezing, though.
It's true, but it's always good to get on top of this early. And if we wanted to differentiate between the COVID flu symptoms or common cold and allergies, what is the difference between these sort of illnesses to keep on the lookout for this spring?
It's really tough because they're all so similar. So I was looking at sinus infection versus allergies, and really to differentiate, you have to get tested. I mean, to really know if it's COVID or flu, they're going to have to do that nasal swab to see if that's what it is. If it's allergies, you go in and you get that prick either on your arm or on your back, and they do a bunch. They
Those are pretty
put
neat.
little
See, I've seen those done
things
before.
in. Yep, the allergy test to see. They can also draw labs to check your complete blood count or look for antibodies, specific antibodies, and that will let them know what's going on. So that's really the best way to test.
And then maybe what are some of the ways that can kind of help people minimize these symptoms?
Right, so avoiding the pollen or whatever is triggering your allergies. So maybe staying inside, keeping things wiped down, taking your medications, and starting early.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, where you want to kind of start before these symptoms come on.
I started a month
I was
early
gonna say,
this
you
year.
did.
Yeah,
he
you were
was
I was
smart.
on top of it.
Yeah, I waited, and so of course they're bothering me right now. But you want to take it. You can take antihistamines. So remember we talked about the histamines. These will combat some of those symptoms from occurring. Nasal steroids like fluticasone or Rhinocort you can take. Decongestants like Advil, Sudafed. Sometimes in extreme cases you might need more immunotherapy like allergy shots. But sinus rinse too is a good way to like flush all of that stuff out of your nose, and do that a couple of times a day on top of all the other things. But yeah, I know, and it's going to be long because one pine pollen starts, and then there's another one that comes after that. I mean, they don't all come at the same time.
It's just if you're horribly unlucky and allergic to all of them, not a great time.
Right, and then the rain. You know, we think that rain would wash it away, but it actually opens the spores and makes it worse.
I think you'd mentioned that before, yeah.
So, anyway.
Well, thanks for coming on today, and this week especially for honoring the nurses in our lives.
Thank you. Thank you.
And so yes, one more time, thank you to all the nurses out there for helping everyone every day. We know you work long hours, do a lot of work in those long hours. So thank you, and thank you so much, Nurse Katrina. We love having you on the show.
Yeah, thanks.
And coming up, we have What's Trending, including